Thomas might be calling in, but in the meantime, we can start. So welcome everyone to tonight's select board meeting, Monday, February 13th. We have Jeff Donahoe, I'm Sabrina Dunlap, and Stephen Whitley, and Ken Trom is online. And Thomas Lymphoma might be joining us as well. So I guess we'll start with, should we vote Ken in first? Okay.
Sure.
So I'll move that we have Ken attend via Zoom.
Second.
And so we should do roll call votes for everything. So Stephen?
Yes.
Yes. Jeff?
Yes.
All right, Ken, you're in.
Thank you.
He looks disappointed.
So first up, we have points of pride.
Sure, I'll just note, I think I noted before, but it's the end of the year and the beginning of the year. And Kelly has been crazy getting all the financial stuff done. And Kara has really been kind of crazy getting the town report done. It goes out the door. It's always this big push, so we're looking forward to having those things done.
Yes, thank you.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, Thomas,
Hey, how's it going?
we'll vote you in here. I move that
Great.
we allow Thomas to attend via Zoom.
Second.
All right, Stephen?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Okay. Thomas,
Hooray.
you're, okay, I just wanted to note, I heard the girls alpine ski team won the state championship today in resounding fashion. And
The sirens.
awesome, yeah, so they were for
We're a little
celebration.
nervous, and Kara said, well, maybe it's a
Yeah,
state championship.
indeed. And also it was
Alpine.
downhill, yeah. And just another thank you to Neil and Ken for doing such a great job with the budget, and Ken powering through last week when he was sick. Still did a fantastic job, so thank you.
well, thank you for that. And I certainly want to thank Neil. But I also want to thank everybody on the budget committee and all of those people that came and or listened in and provided feedback. It was, to me, it was very civil procedure, and as compared to what you hear in some other towns, I think it's something we can be proud of, even though it lasted, the last 3 meetings lasted over 14 hours.
Each.
It felt that way.
I agree with you, Ken. I was there for the 3 of them, and it was very civil. And a good job done by the whole budget committee. All right. Anything else for points of pride? All right, next up we have administrative. So first is approval of the consent agenda.
We approve the consent agenda of February 13th, 2023. I will second.
All right, Stephen?
Yes.
Yes, Jeff?
Yes.
Ken? And Thomas?
Yes,
Yes,
All right, thank you. All right, approval of the public meeting minutes from January 23rd, 2023.
okay, I'll move.
Second.
All right, Stephen?
Yes.
Yes, Jeff?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes,
And Thomas?
yes,
Thank you. Finally, approval of the non-public meeting minutes from January 23rd, 2023, and these are not sealed, I think. Not sealed.
okay, I'll move approval.
Second.
All right, Stephen?
Yes.
Yes? Jeff?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes,
And Thomas?
yes.
Thank you. All right, first up, we have a public appointment with the library trustees, or maybe just Donna. All right, great. And Donna regarding a patio installation. Please join us.
Approach the bench.
Yes, thank you.
Get the gavel.
Yes.
So thank you for letting us invade your meeting. We just wanted to bring you up to date on a project that we have been developing at the library. You remember back in 2020 when COVID hit, you all remember that, right?
Mhm.
And we, like everyone else, struggled to provide a level of service. We closed things down, but we were still providing services. And by 2021, we were opening our doors and we wanted to keep people safe at the same time. As you know, we do a lot of kids programming, and we really wanted to continue that. It had been virtual the year before, and we felt that a safe way to do it would be to do it outside. So we had a 20 by 30 tent installed on the front lawn. Some of you may remember that. Thanks to the foundation, we got one through Taylor Rental, and it was great. We could not have anticipated the positive feedback that families gave us, and members of the community used the tent as well. So it was really very effective. But by the third time it blew down, we realized that it was not a permanent solution by any stretch. So since that time, the library trustees and the foundation and the staff have been talking about ways to expand our programming outside. Even though we're through the worst of COVID, we have to be thinking in terms of providing safe venues. We are doing indoor programming certainly now, but we also have done more outdoor programming than had been done previously. So we began to think, and one of the things we thought about was at least building a patio off the library by the community room so that we could open those doors and provide a safe space for programming. So we have been working with Jason, who is a trustee and an architect, and Eric Buck from Terrain Engineering, who has been terrific, and just coming up with a variety of plans, and Jason's going to speak about them. But I wanted to focus on just the fact that this was something that we felt was a really important way for us to better serve the library community and the larger community also, because lesser folks come over and use the space as well. We envision it for programming, but having tables so people can eat out there, have music, that kind of thing. So,
Excellent.
yeah, Jason.
Not sure how much detail you want to go into. Perhaps I missed it, but the patio that we're discussing currently is phase one of a more ambitious plan. That was actually an outdoor permanent pavilion that we saw as really library focused, but more of a larger community asset. As we all know, construction costs are a little difficult to project right now. So while we were working through the design with Eric at Terrain, the patio really jumped out as a piece that we could do relatively quickly, and we were fortunate enough to receive a large gift and some funding already coming in. So we reined it back into a patio, but really we don't want to lose sight of a larger vision, but that larger vision could be years in the making. So with that, do you have the plan for that? Excellent.
And Neil is going to put some images up. We got 4 bids to do the work, competitive bids.
Yes.
The work is probably estimated now at around 150. Roughly.
Currently, yeah, with some contingency and some of
Right.
the other ancillary costs.
And our foundation, which exists to supplement, not supplant library funds, is so a project that we couldn't do within our regular operating budget. We could not afford it. The foundation has committed half of those funds, and we would commit to raising the balance.
Yes, yeah. Did you have the site plan that I sent you?
I do.
Might be better to start with that. And any chance you have a laser pointer?
I do.
You're the best.
A full service.
Full service. Occasionally it all works.
Yeah, that's what we want. So, right.
Share.
Actually, 37 pages of the around.
Wait, did you do that or I need to do that? Oh, God.
Want the laser pointer?
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's fairly familiar with the site, or if you're not, please come to the library and visit. Be a good plug.
Thank you.
So you can see the community room on the end with that main entrance facing the parking lot. It's a semicircular patio, brick pavers with some granite to match the front, and then a seat wall that rings the perimeter and some soft landscaping around. So large trees. So we're trying to create, long-term a shaded environment that's indoor, outdoor space. And you can see in the upper left section, the future plans for the pavilion. So it is designed where it can grow into that larger vision. One piece, so since the initial design, we did add a few things. One piece that we are looking to add that I don't know if you spoke with Neil about or not, is there's some damaged walkway, the existing handicapped access. The pavement is quite deteriorated. So as part of this, we figured while we had contractor up there with heavy equipment and moving dirt around, we got a price to include peeling up that existing asphalt that's damaged, re-prepping the subgrade, and we were hoping that the town could help us, or DOT could repave that section so our ADA access is a little more acceptable.
Yeah, so this is the accessible walkway from Slusser. And it is buckled by tree roots. It's really in bad shape. And that only really became clear when we started walking around after, this spring, thinking about doing this project. It's gotten worse over the last year. Dan Blanchette has helped and done the work on this walkway. They replaced it.
Correct.
So it isn't something that would be unfamiliar to them. I have not talked to Dan at this point. Yeah.
So if we want to flip to the images. So we have gone back and forth on whether or not to put a roof over this. Some people want to. There's some code implications and some sort of technical pieces, plus the cost of actually roofing over it. What we have provided for in the current plan is some sun sails. So some temporary shading devices that we won't call a tent because blowing stuff down. But they're flexible, they're relatively inexpensive. So it's something that could be put up and taken down a couple times during the year. It wouldn't be up during the winter. And then it would be changeable year after year. So you can see the view, the barn on the right, Slusser Center. So this is really a central location to the town property. Can we flip to the next one? It's just, scrolling down. So we'll just take a quick walk through. So the view coming in, I hope everyone recognizes this. Again, if you don't, please come to the library. We can keep scrolling. Yeah. So getting a little closer, you can see the sails themselves. So again, we're just talking a fabric cloth that provides some shading device on some removable pipes out in the ground.
And that's not a pickleball court.
It is not a pickleball court. No. And it's not a skateboard park either. Just so we're clear.
Kids will skateboard on it.
Right. So again, we do have a semicircular stone seating wall. That's a continuation of the stone that is out front. So similar materials. We are working to get some lighting in there. I've been talking with my lighting rep about hopefully making a donation of lighting. And then we just have to figure out how to get power out there. There is already, security lighting. So the one thing we didn't really talk about is currently that's our emergency egress out of the community room. So right now we have to maintain and shovel the grass area so that we can get exiting out of there. This would actually make some of that snow removal a little easier and just generally make that room safer in the wintertime. And we can probably scroll right to the last image. They just go through and then I take the sails off so you can see simple patterning, very nicely designed. I think Eric and his team did a really great job. And they've been fantastic to work with, in my opinion, very flexible as we went through iteration after iteration after iteration, realizing we couldn't afford the big dream. So. I think I'm done.
Any question? I mean, it is town property, so.
It looks amazing. And I'm
Yeah.
very pleased to hear that it sounds like an impact on the taxpayers. Yeah. Nothing, which is awesome.
Zero
Correct.
for anyone who can't see.
Okay.
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah, you're on camera there.
The existing trees that are there, are they gonna have to go? Are they gonna stay?
It's all designed around the existing landscape, so we're not removing any of the mature trees.
Yeah, because there's one real big one as you kind of look at the.
There is, yes, so that would be retained.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's new plantings and it's new plantings against the building. What we do have to relocate is the art mosaic cylinder that's out there and the granite bench, which I believe was a donated, was it a memorial
Both.
bench?
Oh, yeah. Memorial bench.
So we created a little space for those at the entryway where they could be highlighted there. The other one piece is I don't believe we're entirely clear where the air conditioning lines run underground and the power. So there's a little bit, but again, we've made Rob, the landscaper, aware of that. So I think it's something that we can work around and build around.
What's the sort of time frame for how fast this construction will go?
So we've got some edits to the contract. We wanted to have this discussion first. We're prepared to sign the contract with the edits and material deliveries. What we've been talking about is completion end of May, early June,
Oh, wow.
so that it would be available for summer reading program. So, and it sounds like everything is on target to make that happen.
Yeah. And would it be a 4-season space or primarily like 2 or 3?
I think it would be 2 to 3. And snow removal, I would see as being minimal just to maintain that exiting. I wouldn't foresee, going through the expense of doing snow removal on the whole thing. But then again, cross-country skiing from there could be something that it could grow into. Sorry, I shouldn't offer these things publicly, but I think there's opportunities to
They
use
use
it.
the community room now, so even better, they could.
Right.
I didn't know if some donor out there wanted to donate like ambient heating for the papers or something like that.
None that we've come across.
I like,
If you know anyone.
I like it.
I'll think on that.
Yeah.
It's a significant operating cost, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good point. So,
yeah.
not to be the naysayer, you just said that the walkway was destroyed by tree roots. Are we asking for more trouble trying to put pavers down with tree roots growing around?
I think they're far enough. The damage right now, so the large mature tree is maybe 3 feet off the walkway. And that's been the significant part of the damage, but not all of it. That asphalt.
How far is it off your wall?
Oh, we're quite a ways off of that.
I don't know the linear dimensions, so
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the library. I've been there.
Yep. I think
That would be my only concern is heat
Sure.
of the pavers because of tree roots.
Yep, I think we're far enough
I've been on
away.
Maple Street many times.
I mean, that's sort of one of the things I think that Eric from Terrain was looking at
Correct.
also,
Yeah.
and that's his business.
But I think it's a fair question.
It's a good
to-
question.
To confirm before we go planting.
And you got
trees.
4 bids. What was the range of bids?
They were remarkably in,
High to low, they were $9,000 apart. I don't remember the exact numbers. And then we've since with, so it's Kime Landscaping, who's the selected bidder. And we've we've added some scope to his price, like the walkways and conduits for lighting and some other miscellaneous things.
And what's the project cost?
Currently, the landscaping is just over $130,000, and then with other ancillary, we're projecting 150 sort of total project budget. I think we have $80,000 committed already.
We
a little
do.
over 80.
What happens if you don't raise the other 70?
We do have gap funding already in place if we don't raise it. So there's no risk that we're going to be coming back asking for taxpayer money, if that's where you're going.
Good job. It's the right answer.
Yeah.
We did talk about it before we came here.
I think Jeff asked one of my questions, so thank you. I certainly am supportive of this. It looks like it's a great idea. Will you be adding any more outside lighting once this is completed?
We're currently working on getting some lighting out there for general use and safety. Right now, we have provisions for conduits to add lighting, and we're working on lighting as a donation because that was not in the budget.
And when you talked about the sale, is that the same concept as the what's over the picnic table at the playground?
I don't know.
Does that go up and down? I actually don't know either. You know more about the sale feature than I do. Although I feel strongly that we should have some in the summer, particularly.
Mhm.
We need to cover it because it would be very hot and
We
sunny.
did our staff barbecues there, and if it was a hot day in the sun, that is a hot area.
Yeah. I don't believe it's the same as what's at the playground, but I cannot say definitively. So this is
Is that cloth at the
Can't even picture
I
what.
think it is.
Oh, no, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
over the picnic tables?
Right.
I don't think it's the same that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's more that you see in restaurants
Mhm.
Correct.
sometimes.
Yeah.
or
They use,
poolside residences.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, the one at the playground seems a little more permanent. It's metal maybe.
Okay, I'm supportive of the idea of some kind of a cover for the sun also. Okay. Well, thank you for coming out with this suggestion.
Thomas, are you good?
Yeah, it all sounds great.
All right. Yes, thank you for
Excellent.
a
Thanks.
clear presentation and that's great.
Thank you very much.
Stay
Have a good night.
tuned. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna.
All right, that brings us to old business. First up is the budget committee update.
Not sure there's any more than you've already discussed. They supported everything 10-0. I don't know if Ken had anything to add.
Again, I'll thank you, Neil, for stepping in when I was sort of fogging out on some of the presentation. And just more a question for you, Neil, and where I have not yet signed the MS forms, can I just authorize somebody else at this meeting to sign for me, since I probably will be unavailable?
I'm not sure it matters because there are 9 signatures already. So we have a quorum on all the others. And so far we have 5 on the school and we hopefully will have 6 soon.
Okay. Okay, as long as you're okay without me, that's great. Okay. Then I don't see any reason to talk anymore about budget committee unless somebody has a question.
All right, I think we're probably good. All right, next up is review of the 2023 town meeting warrant.
All right, so my hope is that you can go through and vote on the warrant articles, because I think they're pretty much drafted. There's probably one that may change slightly, but we can talk about when we get there, and then assign who will speak to them at town meeting.
Okay. Sounds good. All right,
Starting
where
there,
are we?
Article 3 is the first.
All right, people have thoughts on this?
Well, I'll move that we recommend this article. And I'll similarly move that Thomas be the one that presents this. I will, work with you, Thomas, to whatever extent you want me to.
I don't know that we usually put presentation in an actual vote, Ken.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
appreciate you tying Thomas down, though.
He wasn't taking any chances.
Sounds good to me. I'll second it.
All right, great.
Brave guy.
Stephen,
Yes.
I mean, yes. Ken?
Yes,
Ken?
Yes,
And Thomas.
Yes.
Beautiful, okay. I can't get mine to load. Did you have a trick on your? Mine just keeps spinning. Okay,
that's
all
good.
right, sorry.
It's not loading.
Yeah, that's okay. I can see that. Okay.
All right. And Thomas is speaking, and the next one is the operating budget.
Okay,
I'll move we approve the Article 4 operating budget.
Second,
all right. Stephen,
yes.
and yes. Jeff,
yes,
Ken,
Yes,
and Thomas.
Yep.
Great, thank you. All right,
and unless somebody else would like to, I will volunteer to present it.
thank you, Ken.
No objection.
Strongly support. Okay, next we have appropriation to capital reserve funds.
I'll move to recommend Article 5.
I'll second. Note that in the write-up, it says Budget Committee recommends this article X-X should be 10-0.
Oh, yeah. So select board and budget committee are flipped.
Yeah.
I thought you'd vote twice.
Yeah.
I do when I go to the polls.
Okay, so did somebody make a motion?
I made the motion.
Okay.
Ken.
I seconded.
Oh, Jeff seconded. Okay, Stephen.
Yes.
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 Yes,
Yes, Ken
Yes,
and Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, great.
and again, I'll present unless somebody else would prefer to.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
And appropriation to expendable trust funds.
I'll move we recommend Article 6 appropriation of expendable trust funds.
Second,
All right, Stephen,
yes.
I mean, yes, Jeff,
yes,
Ken,
Yes,
Thomas.
Yes.
okay, and again, unless somebody else wants to, I'll present.
Thank you. All right, Article 7, appropriation to payroll liability trust fund.
And again, I'll move we recommend approval of Article 7 appropriation of payroll liability trust fund.
Second,
All right, Stephen,
yes.
I mean, yes.
yes,
Jeff, Ken.
Yes,
And Thomas.
Yep.
Great.
and again, I'll do it unless somebody else would like to.
I think it's you, Ken. Thank you. All right. Article 8, authorization to expend from the pay-by-bag special revenue fund.
I'll move we recommend approval of Article 8 appropriation to expend from pay-by-bag special revenue fund.
Second,
Great. All right, Stephen,
yes.
and yes,
yes,
Ken,
Yes,
Thomas.
Yes.
Ken, do you want to do this one too? Did you ready to say that?
I'll be very willing to share the wealth on this one.
Okay. So it seems, all right, we'll put a pin in that to see how the rest of the,
And
Bag.
this is the easier of the two pay by back.
yes. All right, Article 9, authorizing the select board to set the pay by bag price. To see if the town will authorize. Yeah. Okay, so this is just an open, authorize the select board to set the price of pay by bags.
The language on this may change, because when I was going through it with the attorney, the original warrant article at the 2010 town meeting, I think it was, says that the authority under this article shall require that the initial cost for the designated bags or coupons or receipts, any tipping fees for residential trash, and any subsequent increases in the above must be approved by the majority of the legislative body. I don't know how we miss that it's a tipping fees, and it's a little unclear what that means. So I think this language will get reworked to rescind both of those and
Okay.
give you the authority for, just so it's clear.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the intent was for the town meeting to have to set the tipping fees, and we, with a public hearing like we do to set fees, so.
So should we hold off on this until, or is it okay to vote and then we can adjust it?
If you want to vote, or you can wait till next time when we have the exact language, because that's next Tuesday, so we'll have it ready to sign and have it then, and I'll send it out in advance. So,
I think we're all in agreement on this one to set the bag price, right? I think the question was it gonna be a specific dollar amount or open? So I
Yeah,
suspect this is probably a 5-0 vote.
What were the changes, Neil, again? So it's gonna rescind the earlier.
right, delete the requirement for the pay by bag price and tipping fees, and authorize the select board to set fees after a public hearing.
Okay. For both of those, the tipping fee and the,
For both, just to.
Yeah.
Or at least you really, I think, already authorized, unless this takes effect, to do the tipping fees, but,
Okay.
but that will clean it up.
Mhm. Okay,
and it doesn't, I mean, we can wait, I guess, but it doesn't sound like the language is gonna be that much different from what we have.
Maybe you could vote now and we'll put it in, and we could always change it if the language is such, but basically that's what the language would be.
I'll move, we recommend Article 9, authorizing the select board to set, it says right now, pay by bag price.
do you want a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. All right, Stephen,
And I guess before we vote, I was intending that we're recommending based on the amendments that Neil just mentioned.
yeah, yes,
Just to make that clear. So having said that, I'm in favor to recommend, so yes.
I'm a yes. Jeff?
Yes,
Ken
Yes,
and Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Article 10 is readoption of the optional veterans tax credit.
This is, we already had this, and these next two are adoptions. The state changed, the legislature changed the RSA to include people currently serving in the military. And when they did that, it changed it enough that these have to be readopted or they go away.
Oh.
And the
Okay,
amounts are, the 500 is the amount
okay.
that this really does what we currently
Arthur.
have. The only change would be is if active military people apply, they would now be eligible
Got it. Okay,
under the statute.
okay. I'll.
So- can I just ask, putting the amount in here, is that a problem for us in the future if we want to change it?
So if you just adopt it, it's $50, which is the set. And then I think now you can go to $750. It used to be only 500.
Okay.
The town went to 500 quite a
Okay.
while ago.
Okay, so I'll move that we recommend this.
I'll second and
Okay. Stephen?
yes.
Yes.
Yes,
yes,
Thomas?
Yes.
And Article 11, adoption of all veterans tax credit. So how is this? That's optional. Okay.
So the first one, you have to give at least $50, and it's people who served in a war. The legislation changed to allow towns to adopt the all veterans tax credit, which now applies to anyone who served in the military, which we adopted. I can't remember when, but I remember Bob Gersey speaking to it. So that's when it was in that time frame, five or 6 years ago, I guess.
No, where that's coming from. Okay. I'll move that we recommend this.
I will second.
Okay, Stephen,
Yes.
I mean, yes,
Yes,
Ken,
Yes,
and Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, great. Article 12 is question on Keno.
Last year, you didn't make a recommendation one way or the other.
Right.
Right. Are we able to do that again? We just didn't have a parentheses there, right? We just like stayed out of it entirely.
We just let that line off
Mhm.
less. It was on the and it was on the ballot.
So,
And they're doing it at the business session instead of voting day.
Correct.
so do we have to take a vote?
Doing special, but I don't think,
There's no appropriation in here, so I don't think we're required. Which is why we did last year, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to not say anything again, just because we didn't last year and we haven't had the public hearing yet, but I'm open to others.
I'm happy to not recommend it because we will be at the business session and it will get discussed, I'm sure.
You mean to not recommend it or to just not?
Not have a vote.
Yeah, okay.
Not have a vote. Thank you. Yeah, not have a vote.
I don't know what the big concern is about Keno. It's only gonna be in 3 locations in town. There's plenty of gambling already in town. There was Super Bowl squares pools all over town, including in schools. And so I just don't understand what the big concern is. But it's just doesn't strike me as a huge issue.
Thomas and Ken, do you guys want to weigh in?
I'm supportive of Keno, but unless we come out with a 5-0 recommendation, I think I'd prefer we stay silent.
Hmm.
I mean, I just to be candid, I mean, I also am supportive of Keno, so I would not be, if we were to have a recommendation on this, I'd be in the affirmative.
Thomas, I feel like you've had opinions on this.
I mean, I generally think Keno is like a bad idea. I'm in favor of the Legion having Keno, but the way that it's structured, the way that the money flows, the benefits from it, I think are all pretty poorly argued. I still don't know which way I would actually vote on this one. But I have no problem having a non-unanimous recommendation. I think it's totally normal to have a split vote on this. I mean, otherwise, like, I think it'll probably, I think the best situation is if our votes match how the voters vote, then we're doing a good job.
Okay. I mean, does anyone feel strongly that we need to take a position? I honestly don't. I've heard concerns from people about Keno. I also myself don't really know that much about it. So I feel like I'm not in the greatest position to make a judgment on voting on it. I actually think the public hearing will be helpful, but I feel like I've heard enough concern raised by people that I feel a little bit odd taking a position one way or the other in this moment. So are people, it sounds like we're probably generally okay with just not recommending or
Well, can we vote to recommend it after the public hearing, or is that too late?
we could do that?
you can.
Oh,
We can
okay. So yeah, we can
quickly
take this up
topic and
after.
page.
Good solution, Thomas. Thank you.
Okay, so we can take this up after the public hearing. And we could still decide not to recommend, or I mean, not take a position on recommending or not recommending, so. Okay, so we'll put a pin in Keno. All right, Article 13 is discontinued dump road. Thomas, since you did all the work on Class 6 roads, would you like to?
I would love to make a motion that we recommend converting class, and I would love to present it at the meeting as well.
Good, okay.
This is Dump Road, the Graves Road is next.
Oh, dump road, yeah, sorry, I'd like to make a motion.
You can
to
do them
recommend
both.
discontinuing dump road. I can do them both, yeah, same time.
Second,
Okay, Stephen?
yes.
I mean, yes.
Yes.
Ken?
Yes,
Thomas?
Yes,
Okay, next we have,
Can back, actually, the last few, we haven't assigned anyone to speak to.
I
right,
think we're gonna go back.
yeah,
Are you gonna go back on?
yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Then we're up to.
Okay, so Graves. Thomas, you want to move this one?
yes, I would like to make the motion that we recommend converting Graves Road to a Class 8 road.
I'll second.
All right, Stephen?
Yes.
I mean, yes, Jeff?
Yes.
Ken?
yes,
Thomas?
Yes,
Okay. So that's Graves Road to a Class 8 trail conversion. All right, Article 15.
okay, I'll move, we approve, recommend approval of Article 15, lease of town-owned hydro dam.
Is the 41 years highlighted for a reason?
It may switch. I'm still waiting for.
Okay.
That's the current lease, right? 40 or 41.
And you wouldn't have to negotiate that to be that long,
Okay.
not to exceed, so. So I assume it will stay that way.
I'll second.
All right. Stephen?
Yes.
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 Ken?
Yes,
Thomas?
yes,
All right, Article 16 authorizes the select board to grant easements on town-owned former rail beds. I'm not remembering the just. This
This is down by the phone company, right?
For the rail.
Rail trail, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the places that it goes on. Town over.
Does anybody feel inclined to make a motion and speak about this? I'm just not that familiar with the rail trail.
Because some of the original talk was to do individual ones, and then you ended up on to have that broader ability.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind speaking to it. It's
Okay,
real estate. I guess I'm the guy.
you are indeed, okay. Jeff,
I move we approve recommend Article 16.
excellent. I'll second that. All right, Stephen,
Yes.
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 Ken?
yes,
Thomas?
Yes.
All right, thank you. That's it, all right. All right, so we can start with, let's see, Ken, you took us down through 8 or?
Yep.
No,
No, 7.
7. Okay. So 8 is the pay by bag special revenue. I feel like I've done this one in the past. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? The revenue one, yeah. Okay. I can do 8, mix things up a little, but, Thomas, would you like to do 9? This is
which one's
setting-
9?
That's setting the price on pay by bag.
Yeah, sure, I'm happy to do the pay by bag one.
I'll
Okay.
do 10 and 11. The 2 credits.
Okay. Keno's TBD. Thomas has 13 and 14.
Jeff, I think
Jeff
said
has
you do
16. Does he, 15 is the hydro dam, is that? Jeff?
I guess I would be doing the hydro dam.
Okay,
That's it.
all right,
Except for Keno.
Keno.
The Keno, I mean, the Legion will be at the business session, I presume.
They will, and I think the library commissioner may be
Okay.
too.
You have Article 16. That's
Okay,
your only assignment.
I'm gonna get the pay my bag things because Thomas has enough already, so.
No, I'm gonna do,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do special revenue.
No, I'm-
Thomas is getting
All right.
the link.
Yeah.
I can take a nap during town meeting.
I'm
Unless-
always open for somebody to do the budget if they'd like.
Oh, no, you got
If any-
reelected, Ken, you're in.
If anybody feels overworked, we can always adjust as needed, except for Ken, who has to do the budget. Thank you, Ken.
Was that a motion?
It ought to be.
All right, so thank you, everyone, for going through that. All right, so next up, we have the 2022 financial review, the final unaudited numbers.
Sure. So you have them
I'm good.
for
with
the
you.
most part. They're pretty much where we expected. If you have questions, I'll note a couple things on the revenue, because I know Ken will want to know for the fund balance. On revenue, the one thing that the bridge money, which was 179,000, that was an in and out. It shows as a revenue, but also as an expense. So that that will sort of come off that amount, which takes the amount to 455,799 that we had revenue above budget. So that is great. And on the expense side, there's the 188,000 in encumbered funds that come out of the lines, which still don't show as expended. Somehow our system doesn't seem to be able to do that. And then there was a $50,000 grant that also gets added back in because that was offset by revenue. So it's 145,920 under expended. So, and I don't think there was anything else that really changed since the last few times that we've seen them.
Yeah, I had been bugging Neil off and on for a while because I just wanted to make sure that the fund balance that would be available was consistent with what we were thinking, and it is, which made me a lot more comfortable.
All right. I'm good on that. Thank you, Neil. Next, under old business, we have Horseshoe Tavern.
Yes, one of our ongoing long-term issues. So there is not enough land to subdivide it off, given the DES requirements. I have asked Buildings and Grounds to update their list of what needs to be done there. And I also pulled out, we had sort of set a rate if we were going to lease it, which was $500 rent. And then when we did it, it was $910 in taxes. Now it would be just over $1,000 in taxes. So it would be about $1,500 a month at that, just to update you on that. So they should have that list done. You meet next Tuesday to make a final decision, and then we can begin to advertise, and we can think about whether we should just advertise ourselves. We bring in a real estate agent. We did use a real estate agent. I guess that was 13 or 14 years ago when we did it. So that's kind of where that's at.
I can put it on the MLS as a test drive if you want.
Yeah, and
Be
hopefully
involved in the
Yeah.
actual leasing.
that works out.
What's the DES reg that?
Yeah.
It's how much land you need to go with it. He couldn't come up with enough. He tried to get so he could use the right of way we have across the street, which is where the septic is and where the parking lot is. And we couldn't use that because it's not really our land.
Aren't we allowed to ignore our own regulations?
So, these are DES's regulations. We can't, although it's in the precinct, so we can't, so they have, it's under different zoning, but that was what the surveyor said as he had worked through it with them,
That doesn't make sense to me. I'd be interested in talking to him.
Okay, let me get
It
more.
just,
I'll ask him too to provide.
I mean, there are plenty of lots that are undersized. We have an existing septic and we have existing water. It just doesn't make sense to me that we couldn't subdivide that off. He may very well be right, but I just want to understand what he's talking about.
Makes sense.
If we cannot sell it off, is that gonna create a problem where we estimated revenues for 2023 from sale of town property of 102,000?
It is not.
Good.
Okay. New business. Barn bond paperwork and resolution.
So you have all the bond paperwork, and there is one resolution on the first page that if you could officially adopt.
Resolution of governing board.
That is it.
Okay,
And
do we need
it's-
to? Have you seen this? We need to like read that or?
Probably.
Okay.
Pick it up.
Are
Oh,
we-
no, they're all.
Are they all the same?
Yeah,
All right, I'll,
Just copy. Yeah.
yeah, there's
I thought you were voting.
there's 3 copies.
okay, so. Resolution of the governing board. I'll read. I guess I'll read this. How long is this? Okay, okay, so,
That's what happens when bond council gets involved.
all right, the undersigned, at least a majority of the issuer's board of selectmen. Should be select board, the governing board, and the treasurer of the issuer hereby certify. That a meeting of the governing board was held with respect to the issuance of the bonds. That notice of said meeting was afforded to said officers and the public in accordance with the provisions of RSA 91A as amended and the applicable rules and bylaws of the issuer, if any. That at least a majority of the governing board were present throughout said meeting. That the following votes were adopted at said meeting, all as being in the best interest of the issuer. And that the resolutions set forth below have not been repealed, amended, or rescinded as of the date hereof. Voted to authorize the issuance of 272,000 general obligation bonds, the bonds of the issuer, which were heretofore authorized by the issuer's voters on March 12th, 2022, such bonds to be dated February 15th, 2023. Voted to sell said bonds to the purchaser on such terms and conditions as are set forth in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof. Voted to issue the bonds in substantially the form set forth in Exhibit B, attached hereto and made a part hereof. Voted that the bonds shall be general obligations of the issuer. Voted to authorize the execution of the bonds by at least a majority of the governing board and the treasurer, or the printing of facsimiles of such signatures on the bonds and to affix the issuer's seal. Voted to authorize the treasurer to deliver the bonds to the purchaser against payment therefore. Voted to authorize at least a majority of the governing board and the treasurer to execute and deliver a signature and no litigation certificate with a receipt and a tax certificate, and the issuer's treasurer, chair of the governing board, or town administrator to execute and deliver the IRS form 8038G, all in substantially the form presented to the undersigned, and such other documents as may be necessary or appropriate to accomplish the sale and delivery of the bonds in accordance with the foregoing. And voted to authorize Bangor Savings Bank to serve as paying agent for the bonds. I think that's it.
I missed that. Could you do that again?
Do I have to frame it as a motion the first time? Okay, so. We need to,
Just adopt that
Adopt.
resolution.
okay. I declare, I hope that we can adopt this resolution. Do we need to officially move and vote? Or just, okay, I'll move that we adopt the resolution that I just read.
I will second.
All right, Stephen,
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Jeff and Ken
Yes.
and Thomas.
Yes.
I don't want to get that. That was the, I don't think it matters. That's
Got them all.
in there. Okay. All right, that's the barn bond paperwork and resolution. Next up is election coverage.
We meet next week and then the night before the election. So just to start thinking about March 14th.
And I'm so sad because it's my favorite thing to be at the election all day, but you and I cannot.
No, because we're up.
Our names are on the
Oh,
ballot.
darn.
I'm sad.
I'll be there.
All right, you can be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Ken and Thomas, what's your,
Yeah, I mean, I'll be available if, assuming I'm healthy by then.
hope so. Okay.
One would hope.
Yeah, I don't have any plans.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
Next week I'm out of town, you know, for the public hearing. I don't know if I'll be able to call it. I might be at a point.
Okay.
All right. Good to know. So no one else can get sick because we need 3 people physically present to have a quorum.
Right. Hopefully everyone's well by next week.
Yeah, I hope so.
I
Good.
hope so.
All right. Next up, we have town administrator updates, meeting with the Webster Select Board.
Sure. So last Monday I met with the Webster Select Board. I updated them on the lagoon status, went through the budget, and we also talked about sort of the functioning and the structure. And they are happy to begin to look at that 1975 updated in 1989 agreement. And we talked about the 2 town administrators getting together to start that right after town meeting to come back with something for next year's town meetings for both towns.
Okay.
That would be
That's-
wonderful.
And before we meet, we could sit and make a list, and then both boards can come in and work on that. So that was kind of where that went, but they were open to that too. They actually like to see that. The public hearing on Old South Road is on March 13th. So that's a month from today. All the 30-day notices have gone to all the lien holders and all the owners. I did send a copy of the notice to the town of Dunbarton because it goes onto their road. And that's all posted and done. Hydro Dam, Ken may add to this, but 2 members of the Energy Committee, Steve Eckberg and Cleve Kapala, have been working, gathering information on what other similar dams, how they function, and should we be doing an RFP, and have been gathering all the information on that. They also have been reviewing the numbers and have some further questions. They're getting clarified on that. We do have an RFQ out for engineering for sewer for the asset management, which was 100% grant. I think that was it. Other than that, I've been doing budgets and town meetings.
Did the green bag issue happen to come up with Webster? Or?
I did not, and I
Okay.
did not bring it up.
Yeah, okay. Well, I
Because
think,
that was kind of felt like a separate issue
Yeah,
to me.
that's
All right,
fair.
I was chicken.
It's too far.
yeah, and I think the contract is a priority for sure.
Yes,
Did you meet with their whole board or just the?
I did. I went to their regular meeting,
Okay,
so
so I should connect with the
update.
chair to bring up green bags at some point. Maybe after town meeting, I'll do that.
Yeah, maybe after we have our initial. Although
Yeah.
they're probably 2 separate subjects, the agreement and then greenbacks.
Yeah, okay.
Can I go back to Old South Road, the public hearing? When are we gonna do a site visit? Because I think we have to do a site visit as part of the hearing.
Then you should do that.
The same day
Set a
earlier?
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe we should start. The hearings at 6. It could be 5:30 site visit.
Mhm.
I did a pretty extensive survey of that road when we were doing the class 6 review. So I've got pictures and notes if that helps. But if we need to do a site visit, then that works fine too.
I think we have to do a site visit. So. Yeah, maybe you don't need to go, Thomas, or do something else while we're there, but.
And I do have, Dan has put together an estimate, a fairly rough estimate of the estimated costs to bring that up to class 5 gravel standards.
Thomas, if you have some pictures, maybe if you could just share those with the rest of the board.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's scheduled, and we're planning to meet there on the 13th. I'll bring in a plan to next week's meeting for that following.
Okay. So that brings us. You're done, right, Neil?
I am
And
done.
everything? Okay, thank you. So next we have public forum. If anyone is present or anyone online wishes to speak, now is your chance. Bonnie,
I just have a question.
so we can hear you.
It's just a quick question. On your financial packet, do you have the information on our revenue from 2022 for the bags? And how much is left in the fund after we take out the 60?
Yes, I can get you that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Just a question, what is the interest?
They can't hear in.
Sorry.
Louise Carr, Burnham Interville. I was just interested in what the interest payment, interest rate is on the bond, the barn.
4.17 is what it said.
That sounds right.
4.7.
But I was just curious. Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Louise. Anyone else? All right, thank you to the people who joined us online and who came in person. Does anyone have anything for other? All right, so we have one non-public and then we will adjourn. We will not conduct any other business. So thank you to everyone who joined us. And I will move, we go into non-public RC 91A32A under personnel.
I will second.
All right, roll call vote. Stephen?
Yes.
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 Ken?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
All right.
Can Ken and I both call in, or is it better to stay on the Zoom?
I think we can lock the Zoom,
I
right?
think we can. I'm trying to remember how to do that.
In either case, you get to stop recording on us.
I don't think there are any other outside participants anymore anyway.
It's fair.